Hi guys, my name's Craig. Welcome to Small Farmer Life. Well, I've come outside for a nice walk because it's not as windy as it was the last couple of days. It was really blowing a gale and the studio roof was just rattling a little bit and put me off making a video. So I thought I'd come outside, but that's not really the case. The quails are making a right ruckus in the corner, so now they're putting me off making a video inside. So I thought I'll have a walk outside and try to see if I can make the video outside for you guys today. Well, I'd just like to tell you I've wrote off my first letter to my local MP, because that's where you've got to start, to try and get some of the rules and regulations around planning laws for people who want to actually live on a small holding or a small farm in the UK without having to go through all the red tape and jump through all the hoops that they make us jump through, living in caravans for 3 years and that sort of thing to see if you can make a profit. Now, don't get me wrong, I did put in the actual email that there should be agricultural ties to any buildings that are built on agricultural land and that sort of thing, because otherwise developers would just be buying up agricultural land and you'd never get a chance to buy a little piece of farmland so you could start a farm. But anyway, what I want to talk about in the video is the difference between permitted development rights on agricultural land, land that you're looking at here. Now this land here is only 2.7 acres and it looks like a lot of land, doesn't it? But it's not. And the permitted development rights you get if you buy a piece of woodland. Now, to get permitted development rights on agricultural land, you need over 5 hectares or more, so over 12 acres. Now, what's the difference between 12 acres and 11.5 acres? I don't know. Or even 10 acres and 12 acres, or 5 acres and 12 acres. I don't understand what the difference is. You can do a lot of stuff with a couple of acres of land like I'm doing, because I've grown produce. I've got a big pond there for ducks. I'll have chicken trackers on this field, hybrid hens on that field, hybrid hens up the top, a woodwork shop, a farm shop, breeding rooms, all sorts of things on 2.7 acres. So I haven't got no permitted development rights whatsoever. So if I want to build anything, even a shed, I've got to put in a full planning application. But if you purchase, let's say, an acre of woodland, but you could purchase less or more, then you automatically get permitted development rights. So you don't need 5 hectares of woodland to get permitted development rights, unless there's actually tree preservation orders on the trees in the woodland. Then you'd have to put a planning application in. Now, permitted development rights, all that means is you have to put a prior warning notice into the council and tell them what you want to do. So if you're wanting to build a woodsman cabin in a woodland, you just have to put a prior application notice into your council, tell them what you want to do, and then they will come back with you, or come back to you, should I say, within 28 days notice and give you the answer. Now, depending on where you live in the UK and which county it is and which council you're dealing with, they might want to know how big the actual building is. But there's no restriction stated on how big the actual building can be. Now, if I put in for a barn on 2.7 acres of land, you can bet your bottom dollar, if I said I wanted a 60 by 40 foot barn, they'd say that's too big for that piece of land. But in a piece of woodland, it can be any size you want. Now, depending on the council, like I said, that you've got, some might come out and say, why do you need that size? Now, also, if I wanted to put in for a barn on this piece of land, I'd need planning permission. And I'd also need to be running a business from this piece of land. If you own a woodland, you don't have to be running a business from it. You could just be doing hobby forestry, and then you'll still get the permitted development rights. But you would never get that on agricultural land. So you couldn't start a hobby farm and get permitted development rights on a small piece of agricultural land. You wouldn't even get the planning permission for the barn on a small piece of agricultural land, because you'd have to start a business from it. Now, if you actually start putting animals in your woodland, like raising goats or pigs, or maybe, I don't know, turkeys and chickens, because chickens did come from the jungle, then you will be changing the use of the land to agricultural land. But you can do other things, like run courses from there. You can burn charcoal. That's what a lot of people do. Reason why: if the charcoal burner gets out of control, it'll burn the whole woods down. It's a good reason to be there 24 hours a day, isn't it? And a lot of people are living in woodlands across the UK, out of sight, out of mind, under the 4-year and 1-day rule. Now, if you purchase a piece of woodland that's 10 acres in size, and you could purchase a piece of woodland around about 10 acres in size, depending on where you are in the country, for around about 50 grand. That's not bad going, is it? Compared to agricultural land, which would probably cost you 120 grand, depending on where you are in the country. Now, if you're inside, let's say, the middle of that woodland, and it's out of the way up a farm track somewhere, and nobody walks through that woodland, you can put your right of access in, your private right of way in. You can build your log cabin in there, and trust me, unless someone's walking more or less within 20 foot of that cabin, they'll rarely see it, unless it was bright pink or something like that. So a lot of people are going down the route of the 4-year 1-day rule, living in log cabins in woods. That's if you didn't watch the Blair Witch movie and got scared when you watched it. I've never seen it, so I wouldn't know, but I know what it's about. But yeah, if you purchase a piece of woodland in the UK, you automatically get permitted development rights. Now, I think, which should be protected more, the woodland or the agricultural land? Now, both of them should be protected in some way. The agricultural land should be protected from developers, and the woodland should just be protected because that's what gives us oxygen. And the wildlife in the woodland, is a lot more wildlife there than there is on my piece of land. So why haven't they given much thought to the actual planning regulations around woodland? Except for the fact that you need to put in for planning permission if the trees have got a tree preservation order on them. So myself, I don't know how you feel, I think that the woods and forests should be protected more. Now, if you're doing forestry on a commercial scale, then that would be requiring a business. But if you're not running as a business, you can still take in heavy machinery and you don't need planning permission and that sort of thing to do it. But if you're running it on a commercial scale, every tree you cut down, you'll have to plant 3 trees, like 3 saplings, for that 1 tree you cut down. Now, most small woodlands with young trees in, they're just cutting down for fence posts. Fence posts like the ones you see sticking up in the field behind me, they're just 4-inch wide fence posts. But yeah, if you want to go down the 4-year 1-day rule and you don't mind living in a wood, then go all hours of the day and night, get the neighbours used to you popping there and back. If the council come, you've got your tools all hung up. Once the council have been and checked it out, they won't come back again. Then when you go in on a night, just have your side lights on, and you might be right out the way in a woodland. You might have to live off grid, like on battery power, and have some solar power somewhere or somehow. or the generator, and then just pull your car right at the side of your log cabin, and as long as you're off the beaten track, like about 100 metres away from a path, a footpath, no one will see you through the woods, whether there's leaves on the trees or not. Anyway guys, that's the difference between permitted development rights on agricultural land and permitted development rights on woodland in the UK. My name's Craig, you've been watching The Small Farmer Life. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you want to subscribe, it's your choice. And if you want to be notified of more upcoming farm videos, then hit the bell button. Until next time, take care of yourself, and most of all, take care of the family. Bye for now. See ya.